Welcome to the Reese Senior Bowl practice. This is the American squad in the afternoon, live from Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama at the University of South Alabama. A beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and some of the best players in the country are taking the field this afternoon. That includes Alabama's incredible quarterback, Mac Jones, a Heisman finalist, perhaps the most high-profile quarterback here during the week of the Senior Bowl. Quick drive here from Tuscaloosa. There's Kadarius Toney, Florida wide receiver. By some people's evaluation, the best prospect that is participating in practices in the game on Saturday here this week. Shouldn't be long before you hear his name in the first round. And there's Carlos Boogie Basham, the talented edge rusher from Wake Forest, a guy who scouts are very closely keeping an eye on as a potential first round or second round prospect out of Wake Forest. Here's some of the other big names that are here this week, and you see them on both the American team first. Kadarius Toney, Todd McShay's 23rd overall ranked prospect. We mentioned Mac Jones and also Carlos Basham, Jabril Cox, and also Aaron Robinson from UCF also on that board. On the national team, who practiced earlier with the Miami Dolphins, you saw Najee Harris and Ian Book, Sage Surratt, who opted out but then was here this week, as was Nico Collins, the Wake Forest and Michigan receivers respectively. And to note that Devontae Smith from Alabama, the Heisman Trophy winner, is on the national team roster, but because of that finger issue is not taking part in drills or the game this week. Field Yates alongside three men that have spent many a week here in Mobile, Alabama. Todd McShay making his 23rd appearance at the Senior Bowl.
You're aging me, man.
But you showed up as a senior in college, not to play in the game, but because you knew scouting was going to be your career path. Mike Tannenbaum spent many years as overseeing the Jets and both the Dolphins as well, and Louis Riddick, who played, scouted, and now he covers Monday Night Football for us here at ESPN. And it's been a year unlike any other, Mike, in so many ways, and that includes the world of scouting because of the complications of COVID-19. How much of a challenge do you think it's been for teams to scout players like they are normally accustomed to doing?
Oh, it's been a huge challenge. You talk to teams around the league. A lot of scouts haven't left their own homes, so they'll call coaches late at night, do things on Zoom, and obviously watch most games remotely. And what's interesting, guys, ordinarily we'd sit here and say, hey, it's the Senior Bowl. It's the start of the offseason. We've seen guys like Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert in recent years start to elevate their stock at this game. It's massively important because the NFL just announced there will be no combine. So an event that was important. Jim Nagy's done an incredible job of elevating this game. And 32 teams, this will be their only opportunity to be in person with a lot of these prospects.
Yeah, and I talked to Jim, and he said they spent $12,000 on plexiglass just so that the players could actually have a one-on-one opportunity. And there are a lot of guys here. Like Kyle Trask, the quarterback from Florida, can't play, he's injured. Devontae Smith, you mentioned earlier, the Heisman winner, can't play, he's injured. There are a lot of high-ranking players who accepted the invitation to come down here simply to get that one-on-one interview with GMs, head coaches, and decision makers in the NFL, because you can't get it anywhere else. All year long, scouts and GMs, it's all been Zoom. So this is the one opportunity between now and the draft to really have that one-on-one opportunity. And there are so many players that are here that can't actually physically play, that just want to be able to talk and sell who they are to these teams.
Yeah, the NFL is a relationship business. It always has been, it always will be. That's what GMs and scouts have had to rely on via Zoom all fall long, all summer long. Now, for once, they're allowed to see if they can develop a relationship very quickly with some of these young players in this environment right now, meaning the controlled environment of the Senior Bowl in this COVID era that we're living in right now. So, look, there's been a lot of work that's been done from August until now anyway, even if it was via Zoom, and a lot of really painstaking work, a lot of detailed work, because you're going to have to be at your very best in order to make the very best selections once draft time rolls around. But make no mistake, for the teams that are coaching in this game, Miami Dolphins and the Carolina Panthers, they have a significant advantage to be able to scout with true context.
No doubt.
Meaning, I get to see those guys in our system on a football field, which I think we're all thankful for right now.
Well, we're going to let you guys go out there and scout a little bit yourselves right now. We're going to listen in, though, to Panthers defensive coordinator Phil Snow. Just completed his first year with the team after a tenure at Baylor. Here he is on the field, mic'd up.
Right here, and then fit off the ball carrier. Wherever the ball carrier hits, you're hitting the outside hip. All right? Does that make sense? Run it again. Here we go. Here we go, here we go. Cross, 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 cross. Bam, right there. Okay, guys, under G green, under G green. Under G green. Under G green. Under G green. How many backs? How many backs? Good. 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 Hey, alert cross, cross! Alert cross, cross! Hey, Cox, talk to us now. Alert cross, cross, right? Alert cross, cross! Cross, cross, cross! Okay, again. Come on, Ham. Okay. You're tight end when across, right? So now you have the next threat, which is the back. They fake the back here. You got to come back and take the back. All right, let's do it again. Hey, Gillespie, you guys, come over here. Come here, guys. Watch this now. Ham is going to get a cross. Okay, he doesn't have him. He has the next threat. Cross. Who's the next threat? That tight end right there. See that tight end, if he leaked late? Yeah, he'd look for it. Yep. Anything that comes back. Yep. And actually it turns into a four-way because it was double ghost. So it's actually a four-way based on who goes cross. That makes sense? Hey, twos are up! Twos are up! Twos!
All right, Lewis, you got the defensive background. You hear Phil
guys,
Snow barking out orders here. What's he
seven.
talking his defensive players through here during the
up.
walkthrough portion of this practice?
Really, what he's talking about is when you have a lot of, as we like to call in the media business, eye candy, a lot of stuff going on as far as wide receivers, tight ends, running backs crossing the formation, having what they call, kind of swap releases where they cross in the backfield and they can mess you up as far as who either your man is or when you're in zone, what your pattern match is. What he's talking them through here is how to sort that out, how to communicate with your buddies, both on the second level at the linebacker position and at the safety, so everyone is covered up once the route's declared. Communication is huge. That's what walkthroughs are about. Walkthroughs are about emphasizing communication so you don't have coverage busts, so you don't allow explosive plays, which is how you lose in the NFL. Primarily by coverage busts and giving up plus 20-yard plays, and that's what he's trying to get them to understand right now is how to talk it through both pre-snap and post-snap.
I talked to Phil right before practice today, and he was talking about his team, just saying, there were 8 games in the fourth quarter. We were down by a score, and we didn't either take the ball away or have a difference maker quarterback that was able to get us in the end zone and finish. He's like, what I'm trying to do here is find 1 or 2 difference makers, guys that can take the ball away and upgrade our defense. He's like, I love our defense. We've got a lot of good young players, but I need 1 or 2 guys that can really take the ball away.
And to that end, they drafted only defensive players last year, but if they were going to add a piece, Todd, one guy to keep an eye on is number 30, Patty Fisher from Northwestern. A lot of people think he's the protege of their head coach, Pat Fitzgerald. He is a tackling machine, incredibly productive. And, Lewis, you touched on it earlier about how our game's not just vertical now, horizontal. One of the things I really want to see this week is what kind of range does he have? Can he track those running backs outside the numbers? And although we're just in a walkthrough right now, keep an eye on number 30 this week. This is a really big week for him.
Here's more from Phil Snow, the Panthers defensive coordinator.
Here we go. Cross. Yeah, there you go. And then it'll either be screen to him or wheel. You know what I'm saying? Hey, now when that guy goes cross, tell that side over there, cross. That helps him, huh? What play are you on?
Let's play 3.
All right, okay, here we go, guys. Under 7, under, base. Under 7. Yeah, base.
You know, we were talking earlier about the importance of getting guys lined up, and one player that really stands out from communication skills so far this week, it's Houston linebacker Grant Stewart, who wears number 0. He's got long flowing hair, hard guy to miss on the field, and he's a hard guy to miss based off of what he's saying. I mean, before the snap, Todd, this guy's barking out as many commands as he can possibly come up with. So a guy that maybe some of the intangibles will stand out this week with the in-person evaluation.
Under green.
Watch him on special teams. Watch him cover a kick.
He flies.
I mean, he has speed, and he plays like his hair, like that long hair is on fire. And he really does. It's fun to watch him. Listen, he may be a career backup in the league and may play in some sub packages, but he's going to be a special teams maven, and he's going to last in the league a long time because of what he does there.
Cross!
So down the other side of the field, we got Carolina Panthers head coach Matt Rule working with the offense, currently quarterbacked by Mac Jones, and Matt Rule's in his element, coaching his guys up hard.
Let's go. OTL! Come on, coaches. Get those. OTL! Come here. Come here. I want no MA. You had a good day yesterday. I want no MAs from you. Okay? You got to prove, like, hey, I'm not just a competitor. I'm also dependable. You know what I'm saying? So, let's go. Hey, guys. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Matt Rule. How are you? Hey, good to see you. Thank you. He said you guys are just going to throw the flag but not stop it or whatever? Right. Okay. I'd love to throw it. I'd love to see what it would be just because I'm watching the tape tonight. If you guys, without ruining it, you know, because they're going to jump off sides and start to, they haven't had cadence, some of these guys ever, so I'd rather just get the plays run without.
We'll let everybody know that's what we'll do.
Okay, that'd be awesome. That way I don't have to hear about the defensive coaches complaining. Last night they complained it was all holding. I was like, all right, you say so. They call 3 a game. So.
All right, cool. Let's go. What we're going to work on right now is our edge rush.
You can tell it's going to be a lot of fun listening into Matt Rule and his staff throughout the practice today. We're rolling along right here from the 2021 Reese Senior Mississippi State, 7 Eastern on ESPN, as well as the app. We are here in SEC country, and let's take a listen into the American squad. It's Frisman Jackson, the Panthers wide receiver coach. All access on the field.
Back right. Good, there you go, that's better. Good. Hey, start making your way down. Quez, go down there, start making your way down. Tone, start making your way down. Come on, we down there. On the right side now, we on the right side. Here we go, let's go. Same spot we was at yesterday, coming at me.
Hey guys, I can just tell you this. I know we're listening to the coach up the wide receivers, but you just get goosebumps looking at Tony and Amari Rogers. These guys have electricity written all over them. All over them, man. I mean, just elite level young athletes, tremendous skill level. This is going to be a fun practice to watch.
Yeah, Lewis, earlier on in the day, we watched the national squad, and Dwayne Eskridge kind of stole the show for the second straight day. The Western Michigan wide receiver will be interesting to see how he stacks up against this American squad of wide receivers, because there is talent aplenty. Kadarius Toney, Todd, who I believe is the highest ranked player on your board that is playing this week.
Yes.
What does he bring to the table for an offense?
He's just an explosive offensive weapon. Whatever you want to do with him, you can do. I mean, you can let him go vertical. He can run routes. He's going to develop and continue to get better getting in and out of breaks. But on reverses, the sweeps, screens, all those things that you love to do as a quarterback and as an offense, the easy throws that supplement the run game, he is special. And he can make that quick dump off of 3 yards into a 40, 50-yard play, and that's why he's so special. The other guy to watch too is Shi Smith, number 13, I think this week. 57 catches this past year. He can run. He's a slot receiver who is explosive. So we've got Kadarius Toney, who's going to be a first-round pick. We've got Amari Rodgers, who's another slot receiver who's really good. And then Shi Smith, you've got to keep an eye on this guy. He, to me, coming out of South Carolina, is one of the more underrated players in this entire class.
What you have here, quite frankly, is you got guys who have juice, man.
Yes.
You have guys here that you can just throw them a quick tunnel screen, rocket screen, slant, and they're gone. In the blink of an eye, they're gone. And they have totally changed the whole complexion of your football game. Look, the NFL is about explosives. It's about explosives. Every coach will tell you. Every time we talk to coaches for production meetings this year, the first thing they said was, how can we prevent explosives and how can we prevent from turning the ball over? You have guys right here. You better be getting yourself in position to get some of these guys on your football team if you can't produce explosives, because it's out here on this football field right now.
Guys, the energy is palpable right now during this American squad practice here on Wednesday afternoon, and part of that is because head coach Matt Rule, the Carolina Panthers, brings that energy. As a matter of fact, Quinn Kesnick caught up with Matt Rule. You'll hear from him next. Here is our coverage from the 2021 Senior Bowl. Mobile, Alabama rolls along on ESPN. Back here at the 2021 Reese Senior Bowl, the American team is on the practice field, led by the Carolina Panthers coaching staff. And our Quinn Kesnick caught up with Matt Rule, their head coach, just moments ago.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for spending some time with us. You have an interesting perspective, having been a former college coach, now in the NFL. What type of perspective do you bring to an event like this?
Well, I've sent a bunch of players here over the last couple of years. Deion Dawkins, Tyler Matakevich. And I think, I always encourage my guys to go. I think Jim Nagy and his group do a great job. And so many teams have a chance to really watch them compete and also watch the way that they learn, take notes. Really, you're a pro football player for a week. And so to me, it's a great insight for us, but it's also a great opportunity for these players.
Insight for you and your staff in a year that's very different. What advantage or opportunity does this represent?
Well, this is gold for us. I mean, we get a chance to see these guys every day. We get to see them in meetings, get to see them travel, see them in the locker room, see what they're like, see if this is their passion. Are they going to come and be a pro athlete every single day? Are they going to grind? Are they going to work? Are they going to take notes? A lot of guys, when you interview them, they say they want to do that. We have a chance to experience it for a week and really get to know them.
So those non-negotiables sounds like they're really, really important.
Yeah, there's lots of talented guys, but if you want to win, you have to have a bunch of guys that are committed to the process. And so, this week we're telling guys, we want you to be on time. We want you to take strenuous notes. We want you to write everything down, and we want you to come out on the practice field every day and give great effort. If you can do those things, they don't take talent, but being on time, taking great notes, and giving great effort, then we know that you're serious about the game and you have a chance to better yourself.
Some players, the fans, are eager to watch this afternoon in practice. Mac Jones, quarterback from Alabama. What are your initial observations?
Well, you can tell he's a leader. You can tell that he's a guy who loves the game. We're using some really big, wordy play calls, and no wristband. He's out there. He hears the play call. He walks in the huddle. He has it. So I'm really excited about him. I think he's usually the first guy on the field. He's the first guy in meetings. So he's got all those intangibles. Can't wait to see him get out here and spin the ball around.
When you watch Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida, what's the first thing that jumps in your head?
Well, you have like the highlight film of what he did at Florida in your head already, and you see him out here. You see him grinding through, learning new system, learning new routes. He's working through it. Plays bigger than he is, not afraid to block, not afraid to catch the ball across the middle, and you can see the explosiveness.
Yeah, running back Larry Roundtree, interesting, well loved by the Missouri staff, and a warrior in a league, a lot of carries in that league. What are your first observations of Roundtree?
Well, you saw that yesterday. He came out here yesterday, did a great job. Not afraid to do the things you have to do in pro football. Catch the ball out of the backfield, blitz pickup. He can run the football, and his process, his learning, all that has been really good.
Last thing, Coach, point of emphasis today in this Wednesday practice?
I just told all the guys, don't get too caught up. Prepare ahead of time, but go out there and play football like you did when you were 10 years old. This is a game that you love. Run to the ball, fly around, have fun. Don't get so caught up in, hey, everyone's evaluating me. Do that before practice. When we get out here, let's go play some football.
Thank you, Coach. Great stuff.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yeah, great stuff there from Matt Rule. You can see the energy is apparent early as you see these players here from the American squad on the field. Keep tabs on some of the guys we've got our eyes on here, Todd. Jamie Newman, one of the more interesting players in college football this year, transfers from Wake Forest to Georgia, never plays a game as he instead opts out. He's donning the Wake Forest helmet this week. What kind of prospect is he?
He's intriguing. I mean, we know about Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be the #1 overall pick. We know about Zach Wilson from BYU, Justin Fields from Ohio State, Mac Jones from Alabama. But you have to put him in that next tier. And the reason is he is so strong in his accuracy. His ball placement is outstanding. Watch here. He knows he's about to get pounded. He knows that backside corner is coming after him, and he's going to get hit. But he has no trouble hanging in the pocket, back shoulder throw, and gets it done. And he loves it. He's such a competitor. That's what I love about his game. But in the middle of the field, sometimes he has trouble seeing the whole picture defensively. Here's a good example. He thinks he has his running back going over the top of a linebacker, but he doesn't see the safety who's just kind of there as a rover, and that's an interception. So those are the type of plays where he has to improve, and I want to see this week how he improves. But Jamie Newman, make no mistake, is one of the 5-6 most talented quarterbacks in a very talent-rich quarterback class this year.
Well, Quint just asked Matt Rule about Kadarius Toney, Mike Tannenbaum. What catches your eye when you're watching him on the field?
Yeah, Kadarius is a local kid from right here in the Mobile, Alabama area. Weighed in at 189 pounds. He's 5'11", had 12 receiving touchdowns. He's explosive. You know, Lewis talked about earlier that we're in a league of explosive plays and defending them. Kadarius Toney is probably the highest rated player overall here because of the way he plays. I don't think he's Tyreek Hill, probably a notch below that, but every time he touches the ball, he has the ability to score. And what I'm really curious is to see how Carolina uses him. You know, Coach Rule already alluded to that this is going to be their full offense this week. Will he be in the slot? Will they put him in motion? Will they get him the ball outside the numbers, behind the line of scrimmage? He was one of the most explosive players, not only in the SEC, but in the country. Really hard to defend in terms of really went down with the first tackle. And I'm just excited to see him this week. And he's one of the guys in the game that really should separate himself. And he could be a top 15, top 12 player.
Lewis, a couple of years ago, the New York Giants fell in love with Daniel Jones at the Senior Bowl. They ended up taking him in the first round. Could Mac Jones be that kind of prospect where a team falls in love with what they see, not just on the field during his time at Alabama, but also here this week in Mobile?
Yeah, Field, I think that's definitely a possibility, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, what was the #1 thing that Matt Rule said about him when Quinn talked to him just a few minutes ago? He said that instantly you tell this guy one time, he jumps right into the huddle, and he's able to regurgitate wordy play calls like he had been doing it for 2-3 years. Having that kind of mental horsepower puts you already ahead of the curve as far as playing quarterback in the NFL. Now, it's just from a physical perspective, can he stay consistency with his feet, with his hips, with his follow through, with his accuracy of the football to be able to put it everywhere that he needs to put it against defenses that are going to be, you know, incrementally faster than what he saw in the SEC and he saw during his college career. Because upstairs, as far as from the neck up, he has it all. He has it all already. Now it's just a matter of making sure that from a physical perspective, he continues to develop and get stronger and stronger as far as being able to put the ball everywhere that he needs to put it. Because I'll tell you, from an exposure standpoint, the offense that Sark ran last year at Alabama, it reminds me so much from a concept perspective of some of the things that Kansas City does. The way they use Devontae Smith. I mean, it looked so pro-ready that this guy is ready to go. Let's just see if physically he can continue to answer the questions. It was awesome.
We got more coming back here from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Teams are going to be competing the next year. That's live here on ESPN. Maybe departing just a tad early from practice.
Now that the coach is gone, are you going to be okay?
Good now.
How was that meeting this morning?
Good.
Was it good?
Watch some real film.
Really?
And there you see Nick Saban, who Nick Saban operates on Nick Saban time.
Well,
You've
Nick
won
was
all those
frustrated
national-
because this is the first time it's not north-south, it's American national.
Seven do
And
it
so
just as bearings a little bit, huh?
They split up Alabama players on both rosters, so having to stay for 2 practices was a little much. He's got some more recruiting to do.
Those are good problems to have when you have to check in on Najee Harris
Right.
and Devontae Smith, and by the way, Mac Jones. Those are good problems to have.
There's a couple of future Heisman Trophy finalists that Nick needs to talk to sometime soon this afternoon. Let's listen into Matt Rule once again as we get into the team compete period here at the Senior Bowl.
Who's spotting the ball? Who's spotting the ball? Hey, add a yard every time since we're not tackling. Half a yard. Oh, look at you! Look at you! That one slide away. He's gonna drop. Let's go. Spot the ball where he got tackled. It's American football.
McKitty, the tight end from Georgia, was very underused at Georgia. He's really talented. I think he's going to be one of those players who has a better pro career than he did in terms of production in college.
And that was the same thing that happened at Florida State where he started too, Todd, right? It felt like just 2 of the imperfect places for him to be playing his college ball.
You're a little ground and pound, Lombardi, huh? That's right.
He's throwing a little bit. Who is? Snaps. I gotta give it David.
David, get it up there. Boom, get it up. Get it up.
I want one of those Carlos Basham guys on my team.
What do you mean by that, Lewis?
Yeah. Let's just watch number 9 here. And you'll see what I mean. I'm just going to let him speak for me.
Not you guys. You guys.
This guy's just a stud. I mean, his intensity, the pace with which he plays, the violence with which he plays. I mean, he's just fun to watch.
Well, Basham, he can play outside.
Yeah, I mean, he's rushing as a DT right there. You can see how fast his hands are. It's just, I mean, his tape is just fun to watch. It's just fun to watch. And he's going to be a heck of a pro.
I listened to you, see?
Hey, guys, on the other side of the ball, that was a good rep for Jamie Newman. Little play action rollout. Accurate outside the pocket. And we just got to see that, put that together for consecutive plays here. See him get the ball down the field a little bit. That was a good start for Jamie Newman.
And that's an area that he did not have a lot of experience in at Wake Forest. They used him almost exclusively inside the pocket, throwing on the outside, the 9 routes, the deep balls. I've always wanted to see him, because he does have mobility and he is strong. I've always wanted to see him play action, rolling out to his right, to his left, and how he can throw the ball in those situations. So that's going to be something fun to watch this week.
Saw the team's Riverside, which is when they flip the offense and defense to the other side. Let's listen back in to both Matt Rule and Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator.
Way to get to the ball, King! Defense, get to the ball! Are you running the ball today or not? Are you running the ball? Run to the ball! Guys, punch the ball when you get there. We're not tackling. Punch the ball. Punch the balls. Somebody show me you can listen. Punch the ball.
You can already feel the intensity difference in this practice from the earlier one.
No question about that, Todd. This has been instant energy. They get into team drills fast, and this feels almost like a scrimmage more so than a practice in some ways.
There's another miscommunication. We've seen that a few times. There's a lot to learn for all the offensive players here, and looked like there was a miscommunication where I think Jamie Newman was trying to hand the ball off, and the running back thought it was play action.
Come on, next play, next play. Catch your breath, next play. Let's go. Next play, next play. Focus on this play. Back it out. Hey, EJ, how many we at, EJ? How many we at? How many? How many plays? What number play is this, guys? It's not play 7. No chance. It is. Oh.
So near.
Hey, Newman, why do we alert all go? Why do we
Alert press on Z.
That was a gift.
So 11.
What down is it? What down is it?
Third and.
Hey, third down. I'll get off the field. Let's go.
Let's go. Watch.
Love to see how involved Matt Rule is with the players on every single play, almost quizzing them and making sure they're paying their best attention, as the coaches have been stressing all week. Finishing, punching at the football, down and distance.
Come on, we got a third down. We got a third down.
First down. Just keep playing. Don't matter. Hey, nice up.
Todd, earlier we saw Matt Rule address Shi Smith, the South Carolina wide receiver, in a private conversation quickly after a team stretch. What kind of prospect is he? Just a couple of years ago, we saw another South Carolina wide receiver really make a name for himself during this Senior Bowl week in Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, Deebo Samuel, he's not all that different. We talked earlier about Kadarius Toney. He's the best wide receiver prospect here. We saw Nico Collins from Michigan earlier, Eskridge from Western Michigan in the earlier practice. But I would put Shi Smith right there, probably at number 4 in terms of the receivers that are here. And you see right there, just a quick dump off on third down, and all of a sudden you pick up the first because of his ability to get upfield and transition so quickly. He's a special player, and I don't think that he ever was maximized in South Carolina because they just didn't have the quarterback play in the offense to get him the ball the way that they should have.
Yeah, and I think part of the difference too, Deebo Samuel a little bit thicker build.
Yes.
Ability to break some tackles, but Shi Smith definitely has short area quickness, Todd. And again, the way the game's being played, some of these long handoffs, he will be productive underneath. I think he's a little bit quicker than fast, but again, both practices have been loaded with wide receivers, and I can certainly see him being a day 2 pick.
Keep your eyes to the wide receivers on the left, Kadarius Toney and Stevenson. It's going to be a play action and a deep pass to Mac Jones's left.
Go. Come on, that shouldn't happen. Let's go.
You know what you love about Mac Jones right there? Didn't have it down the middle of the field, didn't like it, and ball out of his hands.
Decisive.
You just see it. He's like a computer, like a machine in his brain, and he showed that all year long at Bama. Real good feet in the pocket. Not going to remind you of Michael Vick. Not going to remind you of Russell Wilson, but very efficient, quick feet.
When that outside pressure's coming, he climbs and he's comfortable. And when it comes from the inside, he slides and buys extra time. And he will get that football out, and he proved it all year long.
Yeah, he sure did. And look, they ran sprint right option for a touchdown against Notre Dame in the national semifinal. So he can get out on the perimeter and throw. You don't want him doing it a lot. But this guy has a lot of tools, man. I just love him from the neck up in particular. And I like this guy right here. You can just see.
That's it.
And there's one of the favorite corners in this draft too, and Aaron Robinson. Who does Aaron Robinson remind you of with that hair? Does he not look like the man who calls himself the Gilly Lock? Yeah, he does.
That, of course, being Stephon Gilmore, New England Patriots cornerback. Defensive Player of the Year back in 2019.
Not a bad comparison, huh?
Yeah,
Say, that's good company to keep right there, Lewis.
Aaron Robinson started off at Alabama. I think this is a really interesting week for him as well because he could start separating himself. He has really good man-to-man skills, really built well. I thought he uses his hands at the line of scrimmage in a really effective way. So I think he could work himself into a day 2 pick as well.
He's been overlooked because it was Bama, then Texas, then UCF. He can play safety, he can play corner, and that versatility, some people call him Minka Fitzpatrick. That kind of versatility brings a lot to his game.
Guys, that was a great throw by
there is that processing power right there. Quick feet, move to his right, change the launch point real quick, and zing, touchdown. Kind of
One
like
more look at that play from Mac Jones. Sort of navigating the pocket a little bit, almost breaking the pocket. Can't feel that good to throw a touchdown pass to an LSU wide receiver, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Field, make that throw in the red zone with the field's even more compressed. He threw it on his backside shoulder. Really, really accurate on the run. Great throw.
I'm not that smart. I've come to realize that. But it's rare that I sit down and talk to a player and finish the interview and think, man, he is at 21, 22 years old, so much smarter than I am. It's unbelievable. And that's how it was with Mac Jones. Talked to him earlier in the season, and he was the quote-unquote game manager. And Steve Sarkisian was saying, hey, let's just keep him in his lane. He can take advantage of all the weapons that we have. And then 5 games later, it was like, he's our guy. And he's running the whole thing. And we have installed more with him than we ever expected to, just because he's so smart in terms of his football intelligence.
You know, as we look at this quarterback class as a whole, not just the guys that are here at the Reese Senior Bowl, it feels as though you've kind of got 4 that have solidified themselves at the top. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson in some order, with Trey Lance from North Dakota State also there in the mix. Lewis, do you think there's a chance that Mac Jones could maybe break into that top 4? I mean, if you're in the top 4 quarterbacks, there's a darn good chance they're going somewhere in the top 12 to 15 picks as well.
Well, you know, what's interesting about quarterback play is it's so subjective, right? And it's so much about
sort of like buying a house,
fit.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about what do you like. You know, people like different things. And I think with Mac, look, there's no doubt when you watch his tape, the cerebral part of the game is his strength. You know he is going to be on top of it as far as getting your team in the right play, making the right post-snap read. You know he can throw the short intermediate game, and he can throw it with accuracy. I mean, he makes some really nice, accurate passes in the short to intermediate game that people take for granted. That's a lot harder than it looks. Now, what it's going to be is, okay, from a physical upside perspective, when it's cold weather and it's December and you're playing in Buffalo, you're playing in New England, you're playing in Cleveland, can Mac make that 15 to 18-yard comeback throw from the opposite hash, although the hashes in the NFL aren't as wide as the as college, but can you make those deep sideline throws and throw it on time, which he does with tremendous anticipation, and get it to where it needs to get to before NFL caliber DBs make up ground on his ball? That's what people are going to. That's a question he's going to have to answer. As far as everything else, he can get it done.
There's a big week ahead for Mac Jones. Let's head back down onto the field. Listen in with the Carolina Panthers running back coach.
All right, here we go. Good. No, you're good. Good. There's backs. Get your eyes. Hey, get your eyes around. 3 steps. Eyes around. Eyes. Good. Good. You can put it on him even faster if you want. Even before he gets to the line if you need to. All right. Here we go. Here we go. 3 steps. Eyes around. Eyes. Good. Good. Get a little wider. Kylie, you're good. The receiver will be here. You'll run right through his heels. You'll run right through his heels. Yep. All right, here we go. Oh, here's the receiver right here. All right, run right through my heels. Right through there. Reading the backer.
The best thing you can do is show us you can run. Run.
Here we go. All right. Yeah. Got to drive it. All right, here we go. All right, let's go ride 35 Bob. Ride 35 Bob. Ride 35 Bob. Ride 35 Bob. Here we go. Slow your footwork. Good. There it is. Good. Squeeze the ball. Second step, true crossover.
So we're sitting here and watching these drills, Mike.
Good.
We got our eyes on here for this running back coach. What are some of the fundamentals they're working on and teaching during these running back drills?
Well, again, when we talk about the transition field from college football to pro football, it's 3 down players have the most value, and that's running is just part of it, pass protecting, and obviously being a receiver out of the backfield, especially the way the game is being played. So in this drill, we're looking at, do they have short area quickness? Can they plant their foot in the ground, change direction, stay up? We saw a couple guys catching already fall down. And then can they pass protect? And using that big ball sometimes, running back coaches will use that to simulate pass rushers, to see if running backs can sink, use their hands to stack and shed, and hang in there as protectors, because if they can't, it's really hard for them to be on the field.
Pretty interesting running back group here all week on both sides, Todd. Najee Harris, certainly the premier name. But some of the other guys that are here, anybody sort of catch your eye on the American squad that might be a prospect, I don't know about underrated, but someone that maybe we aren't talking enough about?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this running back group, it's actually turned out to be a really strong class. You got Najee Harris, I think, is the #1 running back. Travis Etienne is 1A, if you will, coming out of Clemson. So those are going to be the first-round guys if they're going to be first-round running backs. After that, you've got Michael Carter, who we saw earlier from North Carolina, his teammate Javonte Williams from North Carolina, and then Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is the 5th best back and is going to be a day 2 pick coming out of Oklahoma. We hadn't had him in the earlier practice. Chuba Hubbard was 1 credit shy of being able to play in this game. He's a junior. He didn't graduate, so he was not able to play in this game. But I think he's going to be in the mix somewhere in that day 2 range. But after that, Chris Evans from Michigan, very underrated. And you're going to see it here in practice. He can detach. He can catch the ball. He's got good size at 5'11", 215 pounds. And beyond that, Kylan Hill is very talented. There's some character things that scouts are working through, but Kylan Hill has had a really good career at Mississippi State. And Larry Roundtree from Missouri. I mean, you talk about contact balance and how important that is in the NFL. The ability to create yards on your own after contact. And I think that's what he does really well at 5'10", 210 pounds.
Let's go from the running backs over to the wide receivers who will continue to get their work in today. Of course, this group very, very deep. It's not just players that you know at the top. Guys like the pair of Clemson wide receivers and Amari Rodgers and Cornell Powell. Josh Palmer from Tennessee had a really nice day yesterday as well. Kadarius Toney, perhaps the name to know here at the Senior Bowl amongst wideouts. But let's listen in to Frisman Jackson, the Panthers wide receiver coach.
It's dragging on this side. Dragging on this side. Come on, Mario. Hey, Tone, go inside for this one. Let's try to get it as much even as possible. Here we go. Hey, come on, son. Right. Here we go. Yeah. Hey, we can go 2, Coach. I got 2 going, Coach. Hey, Mac Jones got you, bro. Mac Jones got you. Here we go. Come on, run.
Good, nice.
Good, finish upfield. Hey, he pressed out here. He pressed out here. There you go, good. Nice. Off coverage. You got his dragon, right? He only step on Lion. Come on, run. Big boy step. There you go, good. Finish up the field. Hey, we coming back now, good, coming back. I know I got you. Good, run, Quest, run.
All right, Lewis, we're zoning in on these wide receivers. What are you seeing from this group so far?
Look, man, I'll tell you what. I know this group right here has a bunch of alphas in it, all right? These guys know that they're good. They know that they're not only trying to perform for the scouts, but they're trying to compete against one another, because all these guys are elite-level athletes, whether it be Powell, Shi Smith, Amari Rodgers, Toney. When these guys come up, they all watch each other very closely, and you can tell they're all trying to outdo the other, and that's exactly what you want to see. And I'll tell you this, we haven't said very much about Amari Rodgers, although we know how good he is. When they did the 4-cone drill, which really emphasizes sinking your hips, getting out of breaks, exploding, easily the smoothest and the fastest through it. And this is just a tremendous group. Another thing I'll say here, in watching this all take place right here along with the quarterbacks, is watch Mac Jones. Again, I talked about the short to intermediate throws. Watch how often he puts it in the perfect spot for catch and run situations. I mean, that's what Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, but they feasted on that stuff at Alabama. Why? Because he put it in a spot where they didn't have to adjust very much to it, and they could just catch the ball and go. And you're seeing him do that over and over again right here with a group of wide receivers that he's never played with.
Yeah, got to develop that chemistry a little bit. Seems like he is a quick study with the chemistry of these receivers from all over the map. Just a deep, solid group here, too. But you mentioned, by the way, Amari Rodgers, Lewis. It's almost a rite of passage to have a Clemson receiver drafted, if not in the first round, right on the cusp of it, like T. Higgins last year, went 33rd overall. The Bengals had just an awesome season for Cincinnati. Maybe Amari Rodgers could hear his name called early as well. And Cornell Powell, good story, a guy that sort of had to wait his time at Clemson. So much talent on the depth chart. Had a really nice final season at Clemson. Earned himself a spot here at the Reese Senior Bowl. This wide receiver group, top to bottom, has been really the strength of this American roster.
Justin Ross would have been, somewhere late first, early second, had he not had the neck injury in the preseason.
And I'll tell you one other thing to add to that field is when you're sitting there in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round and you're trying to figure out who to draft, someone like Cornell Powell is a great story where he probably would have started at a lot of other schools, had meaningful play time. And the fact that he hung in there says a lot about his mental toughness, which obviously you're always looking for. So when you're looking for a guy that could take the next step, be a little bit under the radar, it's the Cornell Powells that you're looking for. And that's why this week is so important for someone like him.
Lewis, you mentioned how smooth it is and how seemingly quick developing the chemistry is between Mac Jones and basically every wide receiver. The quarterback we haven't talked a ton about so far of the 3 that are here practicing with the American team is Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. Guy played 4 years down there in College Station. What kind of prospect might he be leading into the NFL?
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't done a ton of work on Kellen, and I look forward to digging into that as we move through this process. But so far, again, here, and you make a great point, and I'll reiterate the point that I was trying to make originally, which is, just like at the Combine, we talk about all the time about the best players always seem to rise to the top. With quarterbacks, it's the same way when they get with a group of receivers that they don't have a lot of familiarity with. The quicker you see them get on the page, the more you know that instinctively they are just able and capable of handling the position. Kellen's doing that right now. Some of the balls that he's throwing right now are right on the money in good catch and run situations. Now, we understand there's no pass rush here, there's no defense, but accuracy is a big thing. And he is showing it in this drill right here.
Yeah, he's been inconsistent throughout his career, but I'll say this, the ball jumps off his hand, and he's one of the few quarterbacks who has actually given Nick Saban's defenses trouble throughout the years.
Yeah, a guy that can not only throw the football, but get the job done with his legs as well. We're continuing to roll along here. This is the American squad taking part in their Wednesday afternoon practice. The Reese Senior Bowl coverage from Mobile, Alabama rolls along on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. More to come right here after this on ESPNU. Another full day of college hoops this Saturday, culminating with a pair of Big 12 SEC Challenge contests on ESPN as well as on the app. First, it's number 15 Kansas and number 18 Tennessee in Knoxville at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, followed by a trip to Rupp Arena for number 5 Kentucky, number 5 Texas, and Kentucky at 8 p.m. Kentucky looking to get their season back on track after a tough start to the 2020-2021 campaign. We're back here at the 2021 Reese Senior Bowl, and we're going to get right into some of the drills. Our guy Louis Riddick is over there on the sideline where I believe the wide receivers and cornerbacks are going to be heading your way in just a moment. You also can see Panthers defensive coordinator Phil Snow amongst the coaches. We've got mic'd up. We'll be hearing from throughout the day as the team, looks to be in a little bit of a transition period here right now. This is the American squad being coached by the Carolina Panthers, who own the 8th overall pick in the forthcoming 2021 NFL Draft. Let's take a closer listen to Phil Snow, who's doing some work with some individuals here on the field now. And right on track, this is what happens when you do TV. You get ready to toss to a coach talking to somebody, and the guy decides to cease his conversation and continue on his merry way all by himself. So as I was saying, the Panthers own the 8th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. And Todd, as we think about their roster, they have a quarterback in place in Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is the ideal bridge quarterback. Is now the time the Panthers should be thinking about taking a quarterback this season?
No question. And I talked to Matt Rule for about 20 minutes before practice, and sometimes coaches are not open with you about what they think and what they're trying to do. And he and Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator, both mentioned the same thing. We had 8 games where we were in the fourth quarter and we needed a drive. We were down 1 score and we needed a drive. If we had got 3 or 4 of those, it's a totally different situation. We need a quarterback. We need someone who's dynamic. So you look at the situation now. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall. There's no question about it in my mind. He's going number 1 overall to Jacksonville. After that, Zach Wilson, does he go to the Jets, or does a team move up to go get him? And could Carolina be that team to go up and get him? Sure. I think he's the number 2 quarterback coming out of BYU. Justin Fields is another quarterback that belongs somewhere in the top 10, 15 in my mind. And I think that you can't sit there at 8 and trust that a quarterback that you love is going to get to you. And we've seen it over and over again. Every single year, teams are moving up to go get their guy. And you've got Atlanta at 4. You've got Carolina at 8. You've got New England at 15. There are a bunch of teams that need quarterback. And I think it's going to take Carolina probably using a couple picks, whether it's this year or a first rounder next year, to move up a little bit to go get their guy.
It'd be fascinating to see. As we know, the NFL is the one sport where the draft takes place after free agency begins. It'll be fascinating to see some of the moving chess pieces on the board.
And Schefter already said he set the over-under on new starters at quarterback in the NFL at 18, and he wanted to take the over.
What do you got?
Guys, that throw, that 9 ball right there by Mac Jones.
If it's 18, think about like all the change in the league.
Hey.
And so there's going to be so much movement before we even get to the draft. But I think it's going to be a lot of veterans. But these 5 quarterbacks in the first round are going to play a big part in what teams are trying to do moving forward.
Let's get back on the field, Lewis. What caught your eye there, man?
I'll tell you, look, the very first throw by Mac Jones, the 9 round, about 40 yards, right down here on the sideline, right over the outside shoulder. Perfect. Amari Rodgers, he's in the slot. You see him just stick the DB and take off across the field. I mean, the DB had no shot. There's high-level stuff happening out here on this field. High-level stuff.
Boy, you can see the difference in the last 2 reps between the 2 Clemson receivers, just in terms of Cornell Powell. Just doesn't have that twitch or burst. Doesn't mean he can't make it, but clearly when you look at Amari Rodgers, he's on a whole nother level, and one's going to be a day 1 pick, one will be a day 3 pick.
Here's Mac Jones again, throwing the vertical shot down the field.
I mean, just look at it. It's perfect.
Look at that ball placement.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's what he's done all year long. I hate the Joe Burrow comparison because that's what everyone's been saying, but it's not far off. Coming out of nowhere, starting 4 games, throwing 2 pick sixes against Auburn and battling back and getting your team in position a field goal away from tying that game, even though you threw the 2 pick sixes, playing great in the Michigan Bowl game, and then coming into the season and the way he played. Now, he's got 3 offensive linemen that are going to get drafted in the first 3 rounds. He's got a running back who's probably going to be a first-round pick. He's got a wide receiver who's the best in the country in Devontae Smith and won the Heisman. So, yes, he's been surrounded by weapons, but this guy is smart. He is tough. He knows how to manage the pocket, and he is so good with ball placement.
You know what's interesting, though? Like Todd, right? So when Joe Burrow has a record-breaking year where he threw 60,000 touchdowns, he's only throwing it to Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, that's all. And he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hey, no biggie. No big deal. Those guys are just like killers, all of them. Every single one of them. But you didn't hear people saying about Joe Burrow, well, he was just surrounded with great talent. No, the kid is very, very smart, has great processing power, tough as heck.
They're very similar, man.
You know what I mean?
They really are.
I'm saying, I just don't, and I'm not saying you're doing this, I just don't like the whole, well, he was surrounded with great talent. Well, what do you want him to do? You want him to play against a bunch of guys who were walk-ons and expect them to throw for 4,000 yards? I mean, that's what football is. It's a team sport.
And guys, just to put this week into context, he gets a ton of credit just for showing up. Just think about this. Comes off of an incredible season, national championship against a really good Ohio State team. They look absolutely dominant. Nobody would have blamed him if he said, you know what, I'm not playing because I'm going to end on a high note. Just the fact that he's here competing says so much about him. We touched on it earlier. Last couple of years, Daniel Jones of Duke, Justin Herbert of Oregon, they got a ton of credit for being here, and then they excelled. And right now, Mac Jones is excelling. And as you alluded to earlier, Todd, when you think about all the quarterbacks, all the teams that need quarterbacks,
yep,
the top 10 is not out of reach for this guy if he continues to have this sort of.
You know what I love, too? Talking to Coach Sarkisian early in the season, I told you, he said that he's kind of a game manager. Let's keep him in the lane. He's like, but he also, everyone expected Bryce Young, this 5-star prospect, recruit coming in to be the starter, and everyone in Tuscaloosa was looking for Bryce Young. And he refused, Mac Jones did, refused to give up the job. He would not let Bryce Young get the job. And it kind of shows he waited his turn. He did all the right things. He didn't transfer. But when it was his turn, he took that job. And I love that about him.
Hey, Todd, let me ask you about the athlete in Mac Jones. As we look around the NFL right now, so many of the quarterbacks amongst the young ascending quarterbacks are obviously great throwers. But, man, can they hurt you under duress because of their ability to break the pocket. We saw it with the growth of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, dynamic outside of the pocket and under pressure, Deshaun Watson, the list goes on and on and on. Is Mac Jones, as an athlete, the kind of player that's going to have to live in the pocket, or is he good enough to get outside too?
Yeah, that's a great question that we got to get answered this week, Field. But I think it's his in-the-pocket movement, which we talked about earlier. Someone like Drew Brees made a career about just pocket movement, short area quickness, being light on your feet. Mac Jones could do that. I don't see the athletic upside of a Josh Allen, let's say, but that doesn't mean you still can't be successful in the league with good pocket movemess.
I mean, look at
good quick decision making.
Look at Marino. Marino could never. I mean, Marino was a statue, you know, but he could move just a little bit, and he felt it. Half the battle is feeling where it's coming from, knowing where it's coming from, and being able to climb or slide, and that's what he does so well.
The greatest.
Brady's the same way.
I was going to say the greatest winner in the history of the NFL at the position is not the greatest athlete.
We're going to take a listen in right now to the Panthers defensive backs coach as we focus in on these one-on-ones, wide receivers and corners.
I want you to go cover tight ends. I want you to go cover tight ends. You covered tight ends yesterday. You two, go cover tight ends.
No, I want you to run here.
You didn't?
Here we go. Move it up.
I need you. Let's go. Come on.
Hey, going out there, Quez. You know what you got. Here we go. Let's go, Amari. Come on.
Hey, safeties, after you get one, come back.
Good. There you go, Amari. Turn my hands out the way if I can.
Hey.
Come on, get him running. I got you. I know, I got you, bro.
Hey, let's go now.
I got you.
No, we need a receiver outside now. What's he got?
You know what's crazy about Mac Jones?
What's that?
He stepped in Tua the year before, all the numbers he put up, the 2 years before with Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Waddle, and obviously Devontae Smith. 4 first-round wide receivers that he had. And he put up great numbers. Mac Jones put up bigger numbers with basically just Devontae Smith because Waddle got injured, a handful of games in. And then he had John Mechie and he has a great running back, but it was not the same cast that Tua was working with, for the previous 2 years.
And Todd, it's not like this was his first year at Alabama. We know that Mac had been there and had been waiting, but to ascend into that role as the full-time unquestioned starter with an unconventional offseason, right? I mean, he made tremendous strides when his on-field work was as limited as had been at any point during his Alabama career.
And Field, again, I think that speaks to his mental toughness, the fact that, he's sandwiched between, Tua, who's had a historically great career at Alabama. He has a 5-star breathing down his neck. He hangs in there, he competes, he wins the job. Again, it's coming down here this week. Nobody would have said anything if he said, you know what, I'm going to end it with winning a national championship, beating Ohio State. But the fact that he's here and he's as engaged as he is, like I said, given all the teams that need quarterbacks, to say that if he plays well this week and obviously if his pro day goes well, we could be looking at a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, he's a competitor. I mean, that's the whole thing. He knows that Zach Wilson can't be here. He knows that Justin Fields can't be here. He knows that Kyle Trask is injured. So he's got a chance. Trey Lance can't be here as an underclassman as well. He's got a chance to move up, and that's why he's here. He wants to show, hey, I'm better than these guys.
And Todd, you bring up a really interesting name when we talk about such an unusual offseason. Trey Lance, he only got a chance to play in 1 game this year, and here's Mac Jones that played in every game, won the national championship, and is now playing in the Senior Bowl. So Trey Lance's pro day, Zach Wilson's pro day, Justin Fields' pro day, those will be immensely important, but all Mac Jones keeps doing is methodically checking every single box.
Let's chat over to Quint Kesnick now. For what do you got, Quint?
Yeah, I was standing on the logo right behind Mac during those throws, and they're charting him with a a radar gun. But the one thing that stands out is the connection that he's making with these wide receivers, and he's playing with a smile. He's super relaxed, having a good time, but after every throw, he checks in with the wide receivers, and sometimes he's joking, like with Amari Rodgers earlier. He gave him kind of a high five and said, nice catch. I thought you were faster. He led him too much, or just a palling around, sort of building a relationship. Constantly back and forth from his quarterback position. Now you see him amongst the wide receivers right now with a smile, building a friendship and a relationship, and that's very apparent in the way he's approaching this week.
And even earlier with Kylan Hill, when they were running wheel routes, he just walked over quietly and tapped him and said, hey, get a little wider on the wheel route, run your route, run it the way you want to run it. I'll get you the ball where you want it, but get it a little bit wider, it's going to help us. And that was it. And they just high five. Like he just has a way with his receivers and his running backs of getting the point across.
Let's head on down to the offensive and defensive linemen. We've got Phil Snow, who at least is hovering in the area. Never mind, they just wrapped up their drill, so we'll stay right here where we are with the wide receivers and the cornerbacks. As we know, everybody loves the wide receivers and the cornerbacks and watching them make highlight reel level plays here. See Jamie Newman, again, the Wake Forest quarterback who transferred to Georgia and opted out of the season. So he still has his Wake Forest helmet on. He's been donning that all week. A guy who's got plenty of tools. We'll see where he fits in this draft process. I think that it's clear there's one quarterback here in Mac Jones that has a chance to really separate himself from the rest of this pack when the draft begins on April 29th. Scheduled to be in Cleveland. Mac Jones has a chance to be a first-round quarterback. The rest of these players maybe sort of vying for day 2 status here, but an important week for Jamie Newman and Kellen Mond also on the field here right now. He's currently quarterbacking the running back versus linebacker drills here in coverage on the other side of the field. You can see it right there.
I'll tell you one thing, Jamie Newman, when he sees it and he lets it rip, it just spins off his hand beautifully. It's fun to watch. The 9 routes, the outside throws that he makes, they're special. He's got some work to do in terms of anticipating and intermediate throws, but Jamie Newman is really naturally gifted throwing the ball on the outside.
Guys,
I know where you're going, Lewis.
Look, he's just playing around with people down here. He's playing around with the DBs, and Matt Rule's just looking at him, fist pumping him, going, he doesn't have anything to say because he's on a different level mentally as far as what you can ask him to do because of what they asked him to do at Bama and the different throws that they asked him to make at Bama within that offense. And here's the thing about Mac Jones. There's no way you can say, well, he's just tapped out. I mean, this is as good as he's going to be. He's going to continue to work and get better, stronger. Arm will probably get stronger. Velocity will increase on the football. It reminds me so much, and I know people will say, you can't make that comparison. There was a guy who wore number 10 in college a long time ago who came out of the Big Ten who just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. Why couldn't this kid do the same thing?
Yeah, that number 10. That number 10 was fitting as he's playing that guy that Lewis is referring to, Tom Brady, playing in his 10th Super Bowl next Sunday. And certainly, Lewis, as you stated as such, it's a lofty comparison, but the idea here being that Mac may not check every box that every other draft prospect has in recent years, but there's still a lot for him to grow into as a player after just one full season as Alabama's full-time starter.
No question.
And a guy that basically throughout this pre-draft process has hit every mark at its highest level. An incredible year on the field. A guy who's shown up here, participated, as we have talked about. If Mac Jones said, I'm good, I'm not coming to the Senior Bowl, not a single person would have held it against him.
I asked Jim Nagy in the middle of the week because I was worried because everyone was kind of speculating that he might opt out. He just wrote back 100%. 100%. He's in. Yep. So that tells you a little bit about how his competitiveness is. And then you look at like the background. His parents were both big-time college tennis players, and they're both big lawyers. Like he comes from a competitive house and a house that with a lot of intelligence. Like he just gets it.
Actually, he's a super unique story, as you mentioned. Todd, his parents, people that are very driven, Max, an interesting guy himself, from the Jacksonville area. We know waited this time at Alabama. Speaks Mandarin Chinese fluently. Guy picked up a second language. Brings a lot to the table.
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
I mean, four of us can barely put together a full 2-hour TV show in English, much less our first language. I felt like during the first practice, guys, it was hard for each of us to not keep thinking about Dwayne Eskridge, the wide receiver from Western Michigan. And it feels like that same vibe is carried over from Mac Jones during the second practice. The two guys that have kind of stolen the show for their respective teams here at the 2021 Super Bowl. We're currently watching Senior Bowl. We are currently watching the American squad here, coached by the Carolina Panthers, their third practice of the week, and get ready for Saturday's game at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Another big play there from Amari Rodgers, one of the two Clemson wide receivers here. And the teams are about to break into a new drill, which means the time for us to do the exact same. Our coverage here of the 2021 Reese's Senior Bowl is far from over. More to come from Hancock Whitney Stadium. Get back on the field as we listen to Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator Phil Snow.
Frank, can we keep these guys back? God damn. It's not that hard, man. That's it, power. Ah, doesn't fall down.
That's what hey, that's it.
Good. Way off the football. Look how far off the ball we are. Hey, Frank, inside. We're this far off the ball inside.
You ain't no damn three. What do you do that?
Yeah, but we got to adjust to the ball.
Yes.
Hey, guys, adjust to the ball because we're that far off from the ball inside. Counter! We got no chance if they do that. What happened?
Man, counter. Who's up? That's it.
That's
You're
it.
right on. You're right on, Quincy. You're right on, Quincy. Your outside arm. You rip. Watch. This just simply turns my hips. Hey, Coach, let's see that again.
Can't fall down, man.
Let's see that again. Trey, go again, Trey.
Come on.
Hey, attack him. Go again. Attack him. Turn it into a fist fight. Let's go. Come on. Come back. There you go. That's it, Wyatt.
That's it. Danny, how you feel, Danny?
That's it. All right, Bash, let's go. I do not want to see you stand up if you attack. Forward lean.
Once he sits down, snatch him.
Come on, we're attacking now. Let's go. See the ball. It's on two. That's it.
Finish now, finish. Rip.
Come on, let's go. Attack him. Don't try to run past him. Attack him.
That's it.
There you go. That's it.
Finish.
Hey guys, can we not have to say rip to anybody else, please? Like they're gonna grab you, rip off. Let's go. You up. You go, Aaron. Let's go. Let's get a good angle from you.
Hey, left tackle's up. Here we go.
Rip.
Hey, right here.
Yeah. Are you one of those guys? If I coach you, you're not gonna say anything to me? I got you, or all right. I don't think yes, sir. I just need. Look me mind. Got it. Rip. You rip. It's a nice rush.
Violent hand.
There you go. You see it. He's a
Yes, sir.
That's still like you're not really being coachable. You're like, yes, sir, but you're still like sensitive about it. Look at me. You want to talk to me? Look at me. You want to talk to me? He's right because you're afraid of jumping offside. Freaking see the ball and go. And did you see how once he started, he stunted you? How you finally freaking started driving him again? That was the pad level we went from the very beginning.
Yes, sir.
But do you want us to coach you or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get in there again. Go. Come on. You just missed, Bradley. You just missed. Hey, you just missed this wrist. You just missed it. You missed it. It's all right. Pick a good angle, please. Pick a good angle. 4x1 outside is outside leg. 4 yards deep off his outside leg. Let's go. There it is. That's good rep, Quincy. That's it. That's it. That's it, Q.
We get one more right here.
I need him to get one. You go outside. I need him to get one.
Here we go. Right here.
I need him to get one. Let's go.
Here we go. Left guard. Hey, right here.
Pad level. It's on one, so freaking come off the ball with pad level, please. Counter! All right. That's okay. Yeah, one more. Let's go. One more.
Here we go. Right guard.
Hey, at least you got off. At least you got off and you're this high. We can live with that. Just understand, hey, you're not going to beat him to the B-gap very often. The B-gap, when he blocks you, you have to counter right back.
Yes, sir. I'll take. Yes, sir.
We got break!
That was great coaching, man.
Wow.
That was good stuff right there.
You don't get a lot of that.
Well, anybody want to know why Matt Rule's been successful at Temple, Baylor, and Carolina Panthers? Going to be exceptional. Look at that attention to detail.
Certainly a guy who has a certain energy about him that is unmistakable. They're taking a quick break on the field. We're going to do the same thing here. More Senior Bowl coverage rolls along on ESPNU. We're seeing his team right now.
If every play you're perfect, then we don't need to be at this game. Okay? You should be coached on every play. I hope you respect the fact that the coaching staff is trying to coach you on every play. A lot of coaching staffs might have come out here and been like, man, let's just evaluate these players. We're trying to coach you. So get all that out of your system. I don't know, college coach was nice to you or something. Like, I don't care. Like, let's freaking work at each other. The harder you get coached, the more we have to then coach. And you'll get better. So let's try to, they got 9-on-7, punt, and then team. That's all we got left. Let's try to, take this up a notch. Okay, some of you guys are tired during one-on-ones and all that. I get it, but team is team. 9-on-7 is 9-on-7. Let's have a little physicality, stay off the ground. Everybody on the same page? All right, 9-on-7 here, releases over there.
I mean, Mike Tannenbaum, you just got to love the energy and approach from Matt Rule, huh?
Yeah, I'm sitting here with Scott Fedora, their new general manager, and Jim Nagy, and all three of us were just raving about Coach Rule and how good he is. So he to me, he's the star of the show. Despite all these great players that Jim got, Coach Rule, his attention to detail is phenomenal.
You know what I loved about what he just said? Look, there's nothing that sometimes can be more inauthentic and BS is when a player just sits there and does just say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. He's like, I don't even want to hear that. Just look me in the face. Let's have a football conversation, and let's work to get better. That right there, if I don't hear a coach say another word the next 2 days, I'm good. Because that, to me, is what it's all about right there. The whole yes, that to me is just like music to my ears.
90% of these guys are not going to be on his roster. But he's a teacher, he's a coach, and that's why he's been so successful, is he wants to make every guy here better. And he doesn't want the BS.
Right.
He doesn't
exactly
want
what he was saying
to hear,
right
yes,
there.
sir. He wants to look me in the eye and let's make contact. And let's understand what I'm trying to tell you so that I can make you a better football player.
Right, cut through the BS. You probably don't say yes, sir, at any other time in your life, so don't come down here saying it. Let's just talk football. Let me coach you and see if I can get you better. That was awesome. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Along those lines, let's hand it right back over to Matt Rule. He has been excellent to listen to.
Even when you come in from the side, you can punch the ball. Sorry, buddy. Hey, Phil, that play 4, I'd like to see if we can play cover 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just so I can get the ISO right. Come on, Rich, let's go. Punch the ball out. Punch the ball out.
All right, so obviously a 9-on-7 drill, run-based drill, 9 for the offense with the quarterback and the running back, and then 7-on-7 out front. Good reps here for the defensive line, linebackers, and sort of the offensive linemen as well.
It also instills a lot of physicality and a mindset field, so not only is it a great period to evaluate down here, but I think it's Coach Rule's way of saying, hey, like, we're going to establish some toughness here.
Why don't we put him as a corner over here? Because they're going to run ISO, so he can fit it. Just think, I don't care if he's like up there. Okay.
So I want to keep an eye on this drill guy, number 30, Patty Fisher, Northwestern. Again, very similar to his head coach, Pat Fitzgerald. Incredible production in Northwestern. This is a drill that he should look really good at.
Be on sides.
Let me tell you a funny story about this drill, about 9-on-7. In the early 90s, when I played for the Atlanta Falcons and Jerry Glanville was coaching, we used to do 9-on-7 live to the ground twice a day in training camp. And I absolutely loved it. Running backs hated it. Hated it. And you used to hear some just some bombs going off. And you really will quick, just like on kickoff in the old days, as far as this, or even now, establishing and trying to find out who really just wants to play the physical game and what players like contact. Kickoff will tell you that, and 9-on-7 will tell you that, because that's where really it's just about playing fast and seeing whether or not you like contact. That's what this drill finds out very quickly, depending upon how you coach it.
Hey, Lewis, speaking of physical and contact, the offensive line for this American team is full of just maulers. Trey Smith currently playing left guard in this group that's about to take this next rep out of Tennessee. The guy is just massive. You've got Deontay Brown from Alabama checked in at 364 pounds yesterday. Ben Cleveland, Georgia, 355 pounds. You got some big boys that can move some mass up front here on this American team.
Yeah, they kind of caved in the right side of the defensive line there. Yeah, I mean, I tell you, this is an attitude drill. Yeah, there's discipline to it as far as interior gap control and run scheme fits. But this is about physicality. This is about, do you like using those things that sit on top of your shoulders called shoulder pads? Do you like using them or don't you? You'll find it out very quickly.
You touch on someone interesting, Alex Leatherwood of University of Alabama. He's playing left tackle this week, and there's some question about what will be his best position. Obviously, left tackle is the most lucrative position, and this is another opportunity for him to show that he can play out there. The one-on-ones this week will be a really important factor in Leatherwood's evaluation about where he'll play at the next level.
A lot of penetration on that last rep right there. Kylan Hill stuffed behind the line of scrimmage, the former Mississippi State standout who did play a lot this past year for Mississippi State. Let's hear more from Matt Rule here on the mic.
Because I watch you. You are a tough dude. Come bursting out and sprint. Don't just jog, okay?
I'll line you up.
Two. Stay off the ground!
Call that the golden rule of all-star games. Stay off the ground. Everybody stay off the ground.
It's one of the funnier things I think coaches yell all the time. They kind of forget just how hard it is sometimes with all that mass in there and bodies flying everywhere.
And it's not like the defensive players aren't thinking about it themselves, right, Lewis? They're not trying to tackle anybody.
That's it, Roundtree. Hey, Roundtree, that's not a touchdown because the ball's in your right arm. Put it in your outside arm every time. Now, tell me why. Now, what would you have done there? What would you done? You just boom, stepped on the guy coming from the inside. But you had it here, so you had to do what? Make sense? Yeah, put it on your outside arm.
I'm just waiting for that one big collision. Nice, clean, legal collision where one of these linebackers runs through downhill.
Nice roll! Stay up, stay up, stay up! Stay up, Mark, stay up, Mark. Tag him from the side, tag him from the side. Nice run, Mitchell. Come on, dominate your gap.
Let's go. There's 2 cadences this week. Let's go. Come on. Ready to move.
There we go. Now we see some physicality right there. There were some collisions there, boy. That gives me goosebumps. You love that right there. Love it. To the left side of this offensive line, you're right. Look, Leatherwood just looks like that's how you draw him up. You got Basham over here banging on those guys. Now you got Roche out here. Let's see how he does against Leatherwood from Miami. It's high-level football.
Trey Smith and Leatherwood are both, if not first, second round picks. And they are big, tough dudes.
By the way, Lewis, you just mentioned from Miami, one of the edge rushers. How about Greg Rousseau? Player not eligible to play in this game. He graduates as a junior. He's an opt-out player after his sophomore season. Actually down here in Mobile this week, checking out some of the sights and sounds. Another guy dedicated to the process. All right, well, that seems to be the end of that drill. They're going to head into a break, and we're going to join them here. But our Reese Senior Bowl coverage from Mobile, Alabama rolls along, culminating with a pair of Big 12 SEC Challenge contests on ESPN as well as on the app. First, December 15, Kansas and Tennessee in Knoxville, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, followed by a trip to Rupp Arena for number 5 Texas and Kentucky, who's looking to get off the schneid from their early season slump. That game is at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. All right, earlier on, we saw Matt Rhule bring his American squad up in a collaborative huddle to address the team. Great insight and sound here from Matt Rhule addressing the team about their attitude going forward.
Hey, everybody, get in here real quick. Get in here. Get where you can see me, please. Hey, let me just say this now. Saying yes, sir, does not mean you're coachable, right? Like, some guys, you say something to them, and they're like, they want to argue, and they go, yes, sir. That's not coachable, and I do not want to coach that guy. Like, if you're not out here, and every play you don't want to be coached, then you're bullshit. You're bullshit. Like, if every play you're not trying to get better, you're bullshit. Okay? Saying yes, sir, does not mean you're coachable. Looking someone in the eye, having like football conversations means you're coachable. If every play you're perfect, then we don't need to be at this game. Okay? You should be coached on every play. I hope you respect the fact that the coaching staff is trying to coach you on every play. A lot of coaching staffs might have come out here and been like, man, let's just evaluate these players. We're trying to coach you. So get all that out of your system. I don't know if college coach was nice to you or something. Like, I don't care. Like let's freaking work at each other. The harder you get coached, the more we have to then coach. And you'll get better. So let's try to get 9-on-7, punt, and then team. That's all we got left. Let's try to take this up a notch. Okay, some of you guys are tired during one-on-ones and all that. I get it, but team is team. 9-on-7 is 9-on-7. Let's have a little physicality, stay off the ground. Everybody on the same page? All right, 9-on-7 here, releases over there.
Hey, finish on 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Come on, 9-on-7.
As Field Yates has announced, I've been coming here for 23 years. Makes me an old man, but I honestly, experience. Yes, exactly. I can't remember a coach being so involved in the details of every single play, every single unit, every single group like Matt Rhule has been. And that's why he's a special coach. That's why he took Temple to another level. That's why he got Baylor to another level. And that's why he's going to have success in Carolina. He's different. He can connect with the players, but he has that feel where you trust him. And you know that he wants the best for you, but he's also going to drive you and work you. And you see it here. 90% of these guys, maybe more, maybe 95% of these guys are not going to be on his roster, but he's still wants to make every single one of these players better and get them ready for the NFL, and that's cool.
Yeah, that was an absolute exhibition of coaching, and I think Todd's point bears repeating, which is he's not coaching the Carolina Panthers. He's not coaching Baylor. He's coaching a lot of these guys that he'll never see again, and the fact that he's investing with such incredible attention to detail. We saw Roundtree, the running back from Missouri, crossed the goal line, and he stopped the drill to talk to him about the ball was in the wrong arm. That hopefully will stay with Roundtree for the next 10 years in his career. And that attention to detail, players want to get coached, players want to get developed. And it's candidly, it's inspiring to see Coach Rule take this opportunity not just to evaluate the players, but to invest in them.
One of the neatest things for me with him, or rather one of the unique things, I should say, not neat, it's unique, is when you say that his attention to detail from position to position is rare. You're right. It is rare because not a lot of head coaches can do that. Not a lot of head coaches could basically fill in for if a position group coach had to leave for an extended period of time. A lot of head coaches couldn't fill in for that guy because they just don't have that expertise, or they have not exposed themselves to maybe the techniques and fundamentals of that specific position. They have been very, very singularly focused on whatever position group that they got brought up in. He doesn't come across as someone who's like that. He comes across as someone who says, hey, you know what? I'll jump down here and give a coaching point to the tight ends. Then I'll give one to the 3 techniques. Oh, I'll talk to the running backs. Oh, maybe I'll talk to the safeties. Then I'll talk to the quarterbacks. That's what's unique about him. He is truly coming across as a guy who is a quintessential ideal head coach. The only other guy who I could really say that about, because I was around him, who can do that without batting an eye, because Bill Belichick can do that. It wouldn't matter what coach went out. He could coach that position. It doesn't matter. And Matt Rule is kind of showing you, yeah, I can too.
Let's head over now to Quinn Kessick for more on Matt Rule.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Matt told me earlier that as a staff each night they're watching cut-ups of these practices, 3.5 hours worth. I said, what, are you isolating certain players or certain position groups? He goes, no, I'm watching every rep from every different position group as a staff for 3.5 hours each of the nights. The other thing is I sense the college background in the relationships and trying to make the connection in the teaching. I think some of these players get here and they think they've mastered the techniques. They're the best of college football. The reality is they're just getting started and they know very little in terms of professional techniques. And I think Matt, being a former college coach and now current NFL coach, has that perspective that others that we've seen here do not.
Seems like the trajectory of this franchise is unquestionably heading up. Hey, the Senior Bowl practice here on Wednesday afternoon coming to a close, but we still got more coverage for you right here, live from Mobile, Alabama. The 2021 Reese Senior Bowl practice rolls along here on ESPNU.
The Reese's Senior Bowl practice is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
The Pro Bowl may look different this year, but the NFL's best players will still be recognized during the NFL Pro Bowl celebration presented by Verizon. You'll get an all-access pass featuring the game's biggest names and brightest stars Sunday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on both ESPN and ABC, as well as on the ESPN app. And a reminder, this spring, for the 42nd consecutive year, ESPN will bring you the NFL Draft. Coverage begins Thursday, April 29th on ESPN and ABC, with many of the names you hear during this Senior Bowl practices being called out, having their names called during the draft process as well. Back here, 2021 Senior Bowl from Mobile, Alabama. All eyes throughout this practice, Louis Riddick, have been on Mac Jones, who has done nothing but impressed as the teams head into 11-on-11. Mac Jones has really stole the show so far this afternoon.
Yeah, this is where it all comes together. Look, you can look great in 7-on-7. You look great on 1-on-1s, individual, 9-on-7 as far as your ball handling and mastery of the cadence. Now, how do you do here? This is where he should shine. This is where he has shined every time he has put on a uniform for Alabama. Let's see what he can do here.
We're moving this field right here.
Defense, that's one misalignment. Get them lined up right. It's the only play call you need.
Keep an eye on Tony, #1 Florida receiver.
It's a good matchup against Aaron Robinson.
What a ball.
How about that ball? How about that catch right there?
I'm standing right behind him. I would not have even thought about making that throw.
And Ryder, I'm going to
Let's watch it one more time from Todd's vantage point.
That tight window, there's one spot in the world you can put that ball, and he put it right there.
Hey guys, on the other side of the field, unfortunately, Kadarius Toney, #1 from University of Florida, just pulled up.
That's right, Mike.
Hobbling off the field here, so hopefully it's not too bad. He was holding his calf. Hopefully it's just something minor like a calf.
Looks like he has that left ankle taped up.
Yeah, he's holding his calf right now.
I got a view right here. Kadarius Toney seems to just be stretching out that left calf, to your point here, Mike. Ripped off the tape on his cleats. Taking the left cleat off now. Hopefully he's all good. Here's Kadarius Toney. Just one more look at what happened at the end of that first play. Right at the end of this play, you'll see Toney kind of pull up right there, that second to last step. He's walking right by me right now. Cleat is unlaced right now.
Shifting to the positive, though, how about Trey McKitty? Underused throughout his career. He's had a big week so far here. The tight end from Georgia.
Tell you what, they had him get down the seam. Yep. You know, he's a Florida State transfer. Boy, he looks the part, and this is a big opportunity for him because he just doesn't have a lot of production. Georgia just didn't use the tight end much, and in terms of a height, weight, speed prospect,
he had 6 catches all year, Mike. 6 catches. But you look at him, man, he's big, he's physical, he's 6'5", 245. He can run. And he's catching the ball in traffic.
And Todd, he's catching the ball naturally, which is what you want to see.
Guys, we're going to head over to Quint right now for an update on Kadarius Toney. Just caught up with him on the field.
Yeah, he's fine. I just walked right past him. He was complaining that his ankles were taped too tight, but he's got a cramp. So he's taking some salt pills and drinking some water.
All good there. Good news on Kadarius Toney.
I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying.
Waggle 5, boom, everything to go. Wow, bing, yep. Waggle 5, boom.
There isn't a minute that goes by that Mac Jones isn't talking to a coach or one of his teammates about something. Reminds me a lot of Tom Brady, the way he is on the sideline, just always talking to guys.
Yeah, that was a tough deal for J.B. Newman there, overthrow for an interception. But I got to tell you, in the last 10, 15 minutes, the wind's really picked up, and that ball sailed on him. But in fairness, I think the wind may have affected the trajectory of that ball.
All right, and then we're out in the flat. Okay.
Yeah, Mike,
Right,
he seemed late on it, too. He kind of double hitched it. He probably should have let it go to Amari Rodgers before that.
That's his thing. If he's throwing a 9 route or anything outside the numbers, he's brilliant. When he's trying to anticipate throws in the middle of the field, he doesn't always see the picture, and that's when it can get dicey.
Take a listen here, some of the play calls here. Of course, Carolina head coach Matt Rule.
Come on, Russ, let's go.
No, we do. 63, we have to stand. 363, you don't have to stand. Yep. 62, 63, we stand. Good, there you go. Good, time. Get the ball! Get the ball!
Hey, Leatherwood! You see what you just did? Did you see what you just did? You used the cadence? You were off early. That was beautiful. They won't call that in this league.
4 in a row. All right, here we go. We got 52. These are third downs now. Third and 9. Third and 9. 52. Z Domino, F. Flutie.
This first guy's going to anticipate the cadence like you got off.
Flat to get the 5. Flat. All right, so let's say like the ball was on the, where's the ball right now? 30? So if it's a flat, pick a spot right there at the 35 and run to that corner right to that spot on a flat. On a shoot, you're only going 1 to 2 yards. On a shoot, okay?
Keep our eye on Powell in the right slot.
But neither of them do you work up the field now. Just go at it, just stay at your angle that you're on. Almost like an arrow route on both of them, you know what I mean?
Next play. Move it up.
Hey, good job. There you go.
See how quickly inside pass rush pressure can just ruin everything? Just immediately. Broke down the entire play.
It's tough to find, though.
Hey, focus.
Not many of them out there.
Well, now you got Basham in there. Let's see what he can do. In one-on-one pass rush, he's just so quick.
Hey, go through the play here.
Outside, counter, inside, arm overs. See what kind of havoc he can wreck in here.
Good footwork. There it is. Good hole. Good. That's where to find it. Hey, that's the hole. Hey, every hole is not going to be big. That's the hole right there. Give us 4 yards. Give us 4. All right, here we go. Falcon right nasty, leg righty. Falcon right nasty, leg righty. All right, let's take pride in our fakes. Yep, leg is to the left, arm to the right. Make sure we take pride in fake. Fake all the way to the numbers, flatten out.
This is a naked to the right, so you get to see some mobility from Kellen Mond.
Grab your collar, tuck your inside arm. Grab your collar right here. Motion, got the football. All right, flatten out.
Get out, Steve. Nice job, Kellen.
Good.
Now, that was exactly what the defense was repping in individual, or rather in walkthrough at the beginning of practice. Boot action, how quickly can you pattern match the crossing routes? How quickly, if you're in zone, can you find your match and cover it? And when you're in man, are you keeping your eyes where you need to? Right there, you see they had multiple options they could have thrown to. But that's how coaches put together practice scripts. They're eventually going to test you on the things that you did during walkthrough, and that's part of the test that they put you through down here. Can you take it from the classroom to a walkthrough to 11 on 11?
Back it up. You called snug left. Snug right. A little snug right. Go back. Let's get right.
You guys, just standing down here with Jim Nagy, we're just remarking the depth of this offensive line group. There's probably going to be at least a half a dozen guys going the first 2 days and a bunch after that. But they're going too deep on team period here. And this second group is just as good as the first.
You know, and Mike, interestingly, one of the players in the offensive line that's not on the field this week is Landon Dickerson from Alabama. Their center, who many know tore his ACL late in the college football season, actually took the final snaps during the national championship game on that torn ACL. Such a huge part of that Alabama offensive line. And Todd, we know when you've earned the trust of Nick Saban, that counts for something. And Nick Saban speaks glowingly of Landon Dickerson. He's a guy that, would he have potentially gone in the first round if not for that ACL tear?
Yeah, there's a chance. And you know what? He still could be the first center taken in this year's class. And think about it. He's a Florida State transfer, comes in, and if you watch anyone who's just Google Dickerson SEC championship and see the response from his teammates. Every single player came over to dap him and love him up and let him know how much they appreciate what he had done. He instantly became the leader of that offensive line, which in the last 2 years, you're talking about 4 guys that are going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds. So this is a talented group, but he was the alpha dog, and he did it very quickly. And the respect that they have for Dickerson is unparalleled.
Hey guys, good news. Kadarius Toney just came back out, just took this last rep, so looks like the cramp passed pretty quick, and he's back out here competing.
Hey, this is a deep ball.
Yeah, he's been struggling with a rib injury that stemmed from yesterday when he was down by the goal post. He got tangled up with a defensive back, and he said I've heard him multiple times say, I'm having a hard time breathing and my rib, but he's still battling. And you got to love that about him.
So we want to try to release right through the B gap. Inside zone footwork,
Powell in the slot, going deep, 14 and white,
Get the ball
left
a lot
slot.
on these plays here. Right? They're usually over/under concept. I went the wrong way.
Let throw it. Let throw.
Larry.
Can hear the coaches there clamoring to let the defensive players allow the quarterbacks to throw the ball here. So we wrap up our last couple minutes on the coverage here. Lewis, you saw Mac Jones one more time right there, and it just feels like, again, he's kind of had his day. This has been one of the moments where he's really shined and continues to put together an impressive resume in advance of April 29th.
There's no doubt about that, Field. I mean, look, this is where it all comes together for him. You can tell he's a guy who's born to play this position. He's in total command out here. He knows exactly what they want him to do. You see him, he's like coaching the players up like this is his system. And he's just right at home doing what he does best. Could not be showing better than he is right now.
We all know Trevor Lawrence is going #1 overall, but Jim Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl, his pitch to Mac was, listen, you got Zach Wilson, who can't play in this game because he's an underclassman. Same with Justin Fields. Same with Trey Lance from North Dakota State. This is your chance to come and show that you're the guy, and it's not just because you have Najee Harris in the backfield and Devontae Smith and these offensive linemen. Come show that you're the best quarterback here, and that's what he's doing so far.
This is just practice, but a reminder that you can catch the Senior Bowl Saturday afternoon at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on the NFL Network. All the hard work that these guys are putting into these practices right now will pay off on Saturday with the opportunity to play in the game. So some of the highlights from this afternoon include, as we mentioned, Mac Jones, the wide receiver group, continues to show extremely well, and good news for Florida's Kadarius Toney, banged up but just cramps with that calf. Coming up next, the 2021 Under Armour All-American Spotlight through the game. We'll be right back tomorrow afternoon for 2 more Senior Bowl practice sessions at 12:30 and 3 Eastern on ESPNU. For Lewis Riddick, Todd McShay, Mike Tannenbaum, and Quint Kesnick, this is Field Yates saying so long from Mobile, Alabama.
The game we love is more than just a game. In a year where the game was taken away, we learned the game gives us so much more than we could ever give it.
When you commit to the game, you get everything you want out of it.